Okay, I believe that we are now live in the Temple Development Hub here on this Thursday morning. And it's kind of an extra special day in Spain today. It's actually a holiday. So huge thanks to Adriana Coto for giving up part of her holiday to come and share her ideas with us today. Adriana is area coordinator for TESOL Spain up in Asturias. And she also has a fabulous Instagram page where you can follow her and catch up with more of her ideas. So Adriana, thank you so much for coming along today. And we're really looking forward to some practical ideas for the classroom.
Thanks a lot for inviting me, and thanks a lot everybody who is here with us on a holiday, or if they are from other places. Anyway, on a Thursday morning, that is also good. Well, Teresa knows, I already told her that I'm a teacher and I love speaking in class with my students, but I'm quite shy and I'm not particularly good at speaking in public. She just reassures me, it's just me, but I know more people are there. So if at any time my brain and my mouth seem to be out of touch, if something, my mind and my mouth don't agree, just be patient. I will show you the slides and we'll work with that. And then if anybody wants the handout with the activities, you can either send me an email or contact me on Instagram, or you can tell Teresa and I will share it with her. Okay. So when I had the idea of doing this talk about this is because sometimes nowadays the students are always connected to their screens. They have the overflow of information, and sometimes it's a little bit more difficult to catch their attention in class. I love games, and my classroom is full of sometimes too full of games. But even if I have like a lot of activities, fun activities, sometimes they want like something else, and sometimes do it simpler makes more sense. So, and also because games, I know because of my experience, you can spend a lot of money, and we are teachers, we are not politicians, so we don't have that money to afford sometimes. So here we're gonna use the boards, a box, or any box. I like this, I bought this, but it was in Tiger, so it's really cheap. And notebooks that I get for free. You can see that is from my job, and the walls that are also free. So one activity that I really like doing with my students, this one is something that maybe you can do next year, because obviously the course has already started. I find that they like writing and doing, they don't like writing, but they like writing when it's not on their notebooks. They write like on a piece of paper you have on the walls, or like they can do whatever they want, or on the boards. And I'm lucky to have the smart board, and this was my old classroom. Now I have the blackboards, but I mean I have two, so I can say. But even if you don't, you can have a piece of paper. That is what I used to have before, because we need the board anyway. So before smart boards, we needed the normal one. And what I have is like a welcome board, and I invite them to introduce themselves, to say things they like, and interesting things. Some of them are really good at drawing, so they can do it, and you have decorations for free. And I should say that I work in a language school. I work full-time in the morning and in the afternoon, but my class is small. I have a maximum of 8 students, which is good because they all get to talk and those things, but I like them to interact with other people. So what I do, all my students interact with every class, with all the other classrooms. It doesn't matter if they are children or adults. I make them, from time to time, they have to interact. It doesn't matter if they are a C1 or an A2. They write whatever they can, and the children like seeing also that adults are still learning, and sometimes they like seeing that their English is better than the adults, so they have fun. What I do with this as well is sometimes when it's like a class that they like, for example, the students I have now, most of them know each other because they've been with me for a while. But when there are new students, also what I do is like the following week or something, I ask them to see what things they remember about everybody, so that they read and pay attention and they show interest. And every time they get something right, they get extra points. I like playing, bribing them with cheap things, because I always say that I'm a teacher and I can't afford any more. So they only get my love and sometimes candy and those things, or cheap things, pencils and things like that. And these are like some examples. They are very nice, and I like saving them because then when the students grow up, they see what they wrote and they really like it, and it's fun. They are kind of cute to see as well. And this is something that you can do this year, and I really like it more than the other one. Is I call it farewell boards, but you can find a more original name, sometimes a not very original. And the last, well, not the last day because it takes some time, but maybe the last week of the course, you can have the students be in front of the board, and everybody has to write something nice and something. It could be fun, but you need to monitor it sometimes because sometimes they are smart asses, we all know. So we need to make sure there is nothing inappropriate because there is gonna be a picture and parents will get to see it. And we don't want anything inappropriate there, right? So they have the only rule, it needs to be something nice, and it can only be in English or drawings as well. Okay, so what they do is they start writing things the person here cannot see. If they are likely to cheat, I blindfold them, so they don't and it's also difficult to make the others don't say anything because sometimes they start laughing and they read what the others write and they really like it. You can see their faces, and then once it's done, I take a photograph, I delete it very fast, and then they cannot say, and I don't show them until I have everybody's pictures, and then I send them to them, and they really like it because it's like a good. Well, this one the picture is not very good quality, but if you're lucky and you have super nice students, they can do it for you, and it's really nice to see what they have to say. Mine is full of really nice messages. And it's a good memory. I started doing this when I went to the US before the pandemic. I used to spend every July in the US with a group of students, and it was a nice activity to do as a small present of being a month together, because especially when I have students from different regions that then they couldn't see each other very often. And we also did it for the coordinator, the American coordinator, and our ESL teacher in the US. And they really like having that, and it's super cheap because you can print it, that is not that expensive, or just use a digital copy. So this works a lot, so you should try it. Then I have interactive stories. So for Halloween, for St. Patrick's, that is my favorite holiday because I'm obsessed with clovers and green and those things. For any Christmas, so it's a typical story when they, you know, each student writes a line, but in this case, instead of being each student writes a line, each classroom writes a line. So they have to talk about it. They have to, so there is speaking as well. They have to decide what they are going to write. And then once they agree, they ask somebody, usually the one that can do it more beautifully, to write it down, and the same, they can decorate, and then the next class comes in, they read what's been written, and they have to decide how to continue the story. And I've seen that this works a lot, at least with my students. I've used it a lot, and as I said, children, adults, teenagers, university students, everybody has to write something, and they really like it because they want to see what the others wrote, and sometimes they want to be more original. So they really work hard to do a good job. And it's totally, the only thing is the same. It has to be nice, appropriate for all levels, and those things. And sometimes when sorry, go.
No, I was going to say, I love these ideas, how you're kind of, it's not only about building relationships between the learners in the class, but also kind of school-wide and building relationships across different levels. I think it's really lovely.
And they like it too. And also they have to read more difficult things, but they also read easier things. Sometimes they read things with mistakes. Sometimes I correct them, sometimes I don't, because I want them to be comfortable doing it. Yeah, it's not like it's not homework, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just really, you can see that they really like it. You can see their faces. They really like this activity.
So cool.
And I do the same sometimes with questions. Like I write a question, or anybody can write a question, and then they read the question and they write their opinion about it. And it's really easy, really simple, but they really like it. And then the other one I have, as you see, I'm very original with names. is freestyle board, and then they can do whatever they want. So they can. One of them is like world. I can't remember. It was something environmental day, and make the world a better place. It could be something funny. It's somebody's birthday. They write it down, and then everybody writes messages. So it's something that works as well. And it could be only a piece of paper. You can use the door, the back of the door to do this, or the front of the door, and everybody gets to see it. So everything is kind of related, because I say the board, the wall, but it's kind of the same thing. Yeah, and then games. Of course, I love games. I said it before. So this is one activity that I like doing with my students. I print. Well, I do it in different ways. You can print the words, and that looks more beautiful, but and you can reuse them, of course, but sometimes they get really into it, and then they destroy the paper, so you have to redo it. So what I do sometimes is just write them on the board, and I give them like a different type of chalk or a different color of a different marker, and they have just to circle it, and they play in teams. And also the others have, when they are not playing, actively playing, they can help, they can say, they can give them clues about where the words are, or they can make sure nobody cheats. That is apart from me, okay? I also check. And one thing that I do is sometimes I tell them to choose a song. Like, for example, yesterday, while my students were recording a video for today, then I told them that next week we're gonna play, because it's a new class. I've never played with them this game, but I told them that they need to send me songs, and I'm not gonna choose the songs. They are gonna choose songs that they like. The thing is that it needs to be in English, appropriate if possible, but sometimes that's a little bit harder. And I'm going to prepare the words, or listen to them, prepare the words, and then we're gonna pull out one of the songs, and that's the one we'll play, and then another one, we'll use them all eventually. So yesterday they already sent me lots of songs, not one, they sent me like a lot. And I'm thinking about creating also a Spotify list with the songs they like, because sometimes when we do some activities or when we play, maybe we can have background music. I like doing that, and sometimes it's my music that they may like or not. So I think that is nice. And one thing that I do, so when the words are like written or stuck on the boards, I also ask them if it's a song that they haven't chosen, I want them to tell. I ask them to guess what kind of song it is, what is the song about. So, for example, Teresa, if I show you these words, what do you think the song is going to be about? So you have write, you have vocab.
Oh, I was going to say writing a love letter, but I don't know what vocab you would have. Oh, maybe about school?
Yeah, so it's like a song that I found for teachers. Obviously, I don't use this with my students, but it's a variation of a very famous song, but thinking about, like classroom like. It's not 100% appropriate, has a couple of words, but as it's for teachers, it's okay. And as in real life, I would like to play with you, but we cannot play this one. I asked for 2 volunteers among the teachers that work with me to be recorded yesterday. We did it in one of my classrooms, and first I explained the rules, and then the students helped me with certain things like filming. And then they told me, well, first they tried to guess what the song was about, because they were like, that doesn't make any sense. And then they asked me questions about it, and then they really liked it. And that's when I told them, don't worry, we'll play. Okay, so I'm gonna show you the video. So basically, when you have the songs the fastest, they have to actually hear it. That's why somebody has to be checking, because they tend to cheat a lot. So they have to hear them, and then what I do at the end, they have to count how many words they have, or the circle ones. We have to count how many. If you do the circle ones, you can have on a piece of paper. I usually have some of those words, and then next to them I have a +1, because some words maybe I like them more, or they are more difficult, and they have like a bonus. If you play like this, I don't know if I have any with a bonus, but anyway, it doesn't matter. I put it at the back. Like, I think this has like, I write like a +1. So then that's even better. And in this case, it was these ones, because I like the drawings and it's a little bit more difficult. So I'm gonna show you. And the song is fun as well, I think. Sorry for the quality, my mobile phone is garbage. And at the beginning, my
Frozen, Adriana. Maybe it's the connection.
oh, the connection. Yeah, you're like frozen now. Is okay?
You're back now.
Okay, okay. Okay, so we'll see. And the students were supposed to help them, but sometimes they found it difficult to find the words. But they were really into it. They were asking questions then about the vocabulary.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a really fun, dynamic activity as well.
And this one, Laila was cheating because he was looking at the song with the lyrics, because he was like to try to predict what words were gonna be there.
Stop.
Obviously.
And are there extra words on the board as well, that words that aren't in the song?
Yeah, it's because all those words, well, in this case, I got a little bit carried away because it was for teachers. You can decide how many words. Obviously, if it's a low level, well, you choose an easier one and you put fewer words. If it's more advanced, you can make it more challenging and you can put like a lot of words. In this case, we only place once, but you can play twice. But then, for example, what you do is the next time is somebody else. So they more or less know where the words are, and they can. So you can play the song twice to give them another chance. You can play it once if you don't want to make it that long. But basically is that. And then, well, anyway, we don't need to play that. But then I gave them some chocolate because they didn't want to be filmed. But this one, Laila doesn't care. But Sylvia was like, I'm gonna be on camera, and the students are gonna be seeing me play. But it was fun, and the song is. I really liked it. I'm gonna just show you the beginning. So it's there. I like it that obviously, but it's.
I like spelling, I like grammar, I like students with some manners. When I say we silent reading, Cardi, best not hear no chatter.
Well, we don't need to listen to the whole thing, but I thought it was fun for teachers. That's why I chose that one.
And we had a great message from Harry. Layla wasn't cheating. She was using the tools she had available.
Oh, I will tell her. Is it Harry Waters?
Yeah.
Hi. Okay. Then you can use this with whatever graph as well, very original with names. And there is a book that I really like. It was a present I was given in the US many, many years ago. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's 101 American English idioms. And I really like it because of the drawings, obviously. So everything is like super cool. They give you examples, they explain the idiom, and you don't even need to know, like, I mean, what it means, but if you read the words, maybe you can find the idiom and then you can get the meaning. So I really like this, and I printed my favorite. And what I have is like the drawings, the different ones that I really like. It's because they are all very original. I wish I knew how to draw like this. And then I have the idiom. So what I do, this is obviously for more advanced students, but you can do whatever you want for easier levels, sorry. And what I do is I either stick the drawings on the wall or on the board, or I stick the idioms, and then I leave these or these, depending which ones are like left behind. I put them on the table face up, and they can only take one. That's the thing, because they usually grab like a lot. My students like cheating a lot. So they have to take, it's in turns. They can only take one. So they can either check and then make sure which one they take, or they can take one and then spend more time looking at the drawings, for example. That these are the ones I usually put on the board and trying to figure out which is which. And it's a fun way to learn idioms. And the book is always there, and they like also checking it. I always have it on the table.
And Lisa asks, so the title was 101 American English
Then I
Idioms?
can send it to you. Yes, 101 American English idioms. And it's the writer is Harry Collins, and is illustrated by Mario Rizzo. But if not, I can give Rebecca this information. I don't know if you have any way to send it to them. It's really worth buying. I really like it.
Finally.
It's fun. And another thing that I like, another game that I like is anything with a ball. But as I say, this was supposed to be cheap, and balls are dangerous sometimes. So this is my ball. I'm a little bit of a freak, and this is like a mix of Darth Vader and Angry Birds, not Angry Friends, Angry Birds. And my boyfriend gave it to me many years ago, before he was even my boyfriend, because I like all these things. My cats really like it too, like a lot. And you cannot see because of the camera, but it has like lots of holes. And at one point, I decided to take it to my classroom. First of all, I used it for May the 4th, the International Star Wars holiday. And then it stayed there because it was safer with my students and with my cats. So this is the ball. It's really soft, and they find it fun. Sometimes I use like one of these octopuses that has like the mood octopuses, or any toy I have at hand. It doesn't even need to be a ball, but this is kind of round, so it works. So what we do is whatever sport vocabulary. I used to do tennis vocabulary, and I used to divide the board into two halves, team A, team B, very original names as well. And what they had to do is we choose a topic like animals, and then I give somebody the ball, and they say dog, and then they pass the ball like tennis. They pretend this is a racket, and the other one has to keep it up, saying cat, lion, dolphin. And then on the board I'm writing the words, first of all, because my memory is very bad, and the game stops when somebody repeats or when they don't know. If they don't know, it's easy because they are quiet, but if they repeat, sometimes maybe, or I say that you said that, and they are like, no, I didn't. So I have a way to see if it's true or not. And then also because then they can check the spelling as well, because some they don't know, some words they don't know, and they can choose anything. You can, if it's, for example, for higher levels, you can even use phrases and then to use them in a sentence, or idioms, use them in a sentence, or whatever you want. And then it was vocabulary tennis, but then it had to be volleyball because they play volleyball. Then it had to be handball because they play handball. Football was more difficult because I usually have like a big round table, so the table is the net. So that makes more sense. That works really nicely. And then another activity that I like doing is tornado, or you can use whatever that was dramatic. I was gonna say earthquake, but since there was like an earthquake recently, I didn't really like it. And I used to do this a lot when I have Trinity students, when I prepare students for Trinity for the low levels, but then you can play. This is like an easy one I had because this was the easiest to find, and I wasn't going to make another one because that's spending money, and that was not the idea. But you can do the same thing with idioms, with phrases, with more difficult questions, transformations, and they may have to write it on the board for the first certificate or the advanced. You can do it with any game. So what you need to have is 2, 3, 4 tornadoes, depending on how many cards you want, and depending on how evil you want to be as well, I guess. And then you have questions. So they are all face down, so they don't see anything. They only see the back. And they have to. There are 2 teams. You divide the board on 2 sides, and the idea is they have to build a house. I said before that I'm not very good at drawing, so my house is the typical one that is like a square, a triangle, a rectangle, and 2 more squares. That's the one that works for me. So each line of that building is one answer that is correct is 1 line. Another answer that is correct is another line. Another one, so it's a little by little, because if they build the house very fast, you finish the game in 1 minute, and it's not fun. And then So they get, do you wear glasses? Yes, I do. Okay, you draw a line. The other one say 3 things that can be found in a pencil case. You get it right, they draw another line. Then, for example, say 3 words starting with an N: mountain, mouse, mile. And then somebody gets these cards. So everybody gets really excited and they shout it, tornado, tornado. And then the team that got this destroys the other house and they have to rebuild it. So this is fun, and this is they really like it. It's fun to play.
That's such a cool idea, because I've played something similar in the past called the bomb game, where you have like cards with points and then sometimes there's a bomb, and you can either do it the friendly way where you lose your points, or the vindictive way where you can throw the bomb at
I
another
always like the
person.
vindictive way.
That's yeah, definitely. But yeah, I like this kind of a weather focused theme.
Yeah, and you can use it with anything, because it could be just words, easy words for the really low levels, or it could be even grammar questions. Sometimes I play with grammar questions and they don't realize they are being tested. We're doing use of English, but they don't realize, and they like it. Or sometimes I ask them to create their own cards. So there's like a set of cards that team A prepared for team B, and then cards that team B prepared for team A. And they usually tend to be quite hard. They are more difficult than the ones I prepare. They like doing that too. And another one, so things with a box. I like this activity. To be honest, at the moment I'm using a bag because I had this and I really liked it. It's like one of these, I don't know, it's like, it looks old fashioned. I really liked it. So anything, I like putting things inside, because then they don't blame me if they don't like what they got. It's just you got it. It's not me giving you this. And I like this activity. I usually call it persuasion, or I can sell anything, but you can find more original names again. And what I put is random stuff inside. I put like a sleeping mask, a bracelet, a paper clip or whatever, and a piece of cotton. And this piece of cotton was white when I gave it to them, but then they color it. They can adapt it if they want. And the idea is, if this is in groups and they have to come up with a fun idea, because we don't want to be boring class. So it needs to be a fun idea of a product with that, and they have to sell their idea. And in the end, they have to persuade everybody and me to buy. I can only buy one of these. So they need to tell me why I should buy theirs. And so, for example, the rainbow cotton, I don't remember this one. This was an old one I used. It was like, it has magic powers and make people happy, and so you can invent like different stuff, and they can make a presentation. Then the presentation can be on the wall. Then the other students do the same thing. They can see everybody's presentation. They can get ideas for theirs as well. Not like cheap, but a little bit like not copy, but get inspired. So that's one thing that I like doing. And you can, whatever you have at home that you don't throw away. I have a problem. I'm a hoarder. I save everything. And I live in a very small, I'm not going to show you how this is, but everything I'm using today is like basically on me, because I have no space. We have too many things. We're going to move eventually before Christmas, hopefully, to a bigger house, but it's going to be the same thing. I know it's going to be full of stuff, because I always think, no, I may use it. Like when I bought this, it took me a while to use it, but then I was like, yeah, it's so cute, I'm going to buy it. And then I have lots of things like that. And then once I bought it, and after a while, I realized how I wanted to use it. But you can make your own with a soup box. I like them to interact with each other, as I told you before. So we have a letterbox, and the letterbox could be for example, when it's on Valentine's Day, I don't want them to be obsessed with my boyfriend, my girlfriend, my whatever. No, because maybe, especially the teenagers, maybe they broke up with somebody and then they are depressed. So it's like, no, St. Valentine's Day is for love. And you can love your friend, you can love your mom, you can love your dad, you can love your dog, you can love anybody you want. And what I ask them to do is write a love letter, but it's not like a love letter like I'm in love with you. It's like, I really like you because you are so nice, you always help me. you always go back. And sometimes I give them the names of the people they have to write so that everybody gets a letter. Or sometimes the letters are like, they have they are open to everybody that wants to grab them. And what they have to do is they get it, and it's usually like a nice letter, like, you're the best, blah, blah, like a motivation one. And then they get it, and then they usually get happy because they got mail, and it's a fun one. And if it's a real letter, then they have to reply. And then the same thing I do, oh, we have something, and sometimes I don't even know they put it inside. I only know because there are, I mean, you can hear it. I also like, well, what I said, motivation, like writing nice things that happen in class, or nice things that happen to them. And then sometimes when they are like a little bit, sometimes they come from school or from home and they are like a little bit not in the mood to do anything. So I open it and we read and say, oh yeah, true, that happened to me last week. This week is not that good, but last week it was very good. Maybe next week it will be good as well. So it's nice to cheer them up as well. And you can also have a review box. So whenever there is a word that they don't know and they want to learn, because maybe they don't want to learn all the words, there are many words, they put it inside. And then I also use this for the game before. I stick them on the board, and then I give them the translation in Spanish or synonyms, and they have to find, or antonyms. So we can review them with the games we talked about before, and I really like that. And could be the same with pronunciation, with the spelling, anything you want. The same motivation. For this one, they made a poster, but I like writing motivating things in the boxes. And then this is another activity that I really like, and I really like a book that I'm gonna show you. You can create your own. At the beginning, the first time I used this book, there are many. This is the one I got, and it's called 642 Things to Write About. So 642 things to write about. And it's by 826 Valencia. I don't know if you can see it, but the same thing. And you can tell that I really like the book, right? These are like my favorite things. And it's nice because it's a lot of, it has a lot of topics. Some of them, they are supposed to write longer. Some of them are shorter, and some of them are like very short. So you get lots of ideas. So what I do, I choose my favorite, and then I make my own. And the same thing, I put them in the box. And for example, if there is a student that finishes really fast, maybe you can give them one of these things, or one day that maybe, for example, yesterday it was really hot. I live in Asturias and we are not used to the heat. And yesterday was 38 degrees, and that's not normal. And in Asturias, it's very humid too. Like now, my cats, I live with my boyfriend and 2 cats. My cats, I hate having them in another part of the flat, but I need to open the windows because if not, I would die here talking to you. It's really, really hot. So my students yesterday, when they came to class, I have a class that they are very cheerful. They are always very talkative. They always want to tell me things. They always want to work. They always want to do anything. And yesterday they came and they were like, they sat down and they were like, it's so hot. Can we just speak about whatever and don't do book? And so sometimes if they catch me off guard and maybe I cannot think of any topic, it's like, okay, this one. And the same thing, they don't blame me, that's a boring topic. No, I don't like that one. That's too easy. That's too difficult. It's like bad luck. That's what you got. Depending on the level, I tell them that they can skip one, but only one, or they can skip 2. But then they have to talk about anything because they have to get used to talk about anything with whatever vocabulary they have, whatever grammar they have to talk about everything. Doesn't matter. And you have this for writing or for the speaking, and the same thing. So I have lots of questions. If you could visit a fictional town, what would it be? What is something you get wrong almost every time you try to do it, which is good because we all make mistakes. Which is one thing you don't understand about yourself? What is your favorite chewing gum flavor? What is the craziest thing you've seen somebody do at the workplace or at school? So there are all sorts of questions. and you can have different levels. The colors originally were different levels, but then sometimes I mix them all. And so they get maybe for the C1, I like it also when I give them like an easy question, because when I give them an easy question, it's like, what do you like doing in your free time? And they say, watching TV. And they are in the C1. So watching TV is okay, it's perfect English, but it's not good enough for the exam. So it's like, okay, you get an easy, when they get a difficult question, they work harder to answer it. But when they get like an easy question, it's like one word. So even if it's an easy question, you need to try to answer it with your, according to the level you're studying. So I like doing that too. And then the notebook. As I say, I really like this because I get them for free. I'm the one that has been, so I have 2 bosses, and then I have a lot of workmates, but then I've been there for the longest, and I do other things apart from teaching. So sometimes I use that cause. It's like, but I've been here the longest. Don't I deserve an extra notebook? So sometimes I get away with things. I only found 4. I have like plenty, but sometimes my students wanted to keep them. So these are some that I got to keep. So I do this like a class journal, and you can see that you can use them with very low levels, or you can use them. I'm trying to see if I have like a higher one, but maybe they, well, this one, and this one is, they are describing things. You can use it with the adults. They don't, because sometimes we don't play with adults, or we don't do things because we think they are gonna think they are silly, but they usually really enjoy it. So, and I like doing silly things all the time. So, then you get nice things like this as well. So what we have is, I always have this notebook I can have them for the class, a notebook for each class, or a notebook for Mondays and Wednesdays. So everybody that comes Mondays and Wednesdays has to do that, or for Tuesdays and Thursdays, or for everybody, and everybody gets to write. And I need to go to the toilet. We all need to go to the toilet. I was telling Rebecca that I don't really drink a lot in general. So I'm trying to drink more water, but if I drink more water, I need to go to the toilet. So between classes, normally my students are already waiting for me. They come early and they are already waiting for me. So they don't, and they start talking to me. If I'm lucky, others are more quiet, but I cannot complain if they start talking to me, because that's what we want them to do, but I need to go to the toilet. So I started like having the notebook there, and it's like, do something, because if not, they were going to be messing around, or now with the mobile phones, they are going to be with the mobile phones. So I told, do something in the meantime, because before they used to take my mobile phone, and the little ones, and when I came back, I had like thousands of videos with them, recording them like this. Like, that's why I started having like a password. So this is like the thing where they get to write. And the same thing, interactive. So at the beginning, they introduce themselves, and then others, this is funny. Hello, I'm Candela. I'm very beautiful and cool. So she's very self-confident at the point. And this is a message for, so you have, this is a message for, so they got, this is a message for Marina. And so they wrote, Marina was an older kid that was super cool. She's still my student, but at the moment I have the students with that were 6 years old, and Marina was 16, and she was friends with somebody's brother. So they knew Marina. Marina was really beautiful, really trendy, really. So everybody wanted to write messages to Marina. So hello, Marina, hello, Marina, hello, Marina, hello, Marina. So, and poor Marina was super nice, and she answered everybody. So she took the time to answer every little child.
That's so lovely.
That was so nice. She's at university. She's on her 3rd year, and I have to show her this again, because I didn't remember so many messages were for her. So you have like a lot of things. So they write messages about holidays, Marina again. So everything is almost Marina. They have like their own, for carnival, their costumes, and it's nice because they were curious, and they wanted to see what the others wrote. Some were really nice. So it was like a comic, like. And then at the end, what I did in some of them was also the story. So we had a story time, and the same thing. They started a story, and then the other classroom continue the story, and then another classroom continue the story, or the same classroom but a different child every time. And it's really nice to see. These are some of my favorite thoughts. I love sandrocks and clovers. I love costumes, so they know. So they created a story with a superhero that was an ice cream. For this one, say hello, Marina again, everywhere. And you can also have, at some point, I had a section that was new words. So whenever there was a word they didn't know, we wrote it down, and then what they have to do is write sentences using the words. Try to see if they got it right, and then they wrote who had written it, because they wanted to see this was my sentence. I did it, maybe he didn't do it. And then the other person had to do it because he didn't want to be the only one not writing things. And the same, I love TV series and I love books. And I love books, but sometimes I don't know which one to read. So I love it when they give me suggestions. Sometimes maybe it's not a series I would like to see, but it's nice if I see it, because then I have things to talk to them about. And sometimes they know, oh, you're gonna like this, and then they love it when I say, oh, I watch it. Have you watched it? Because sometimes they think you're not gonna do it. When they don't know me, the ones that know me know that I'm gonna do it. But the ones that don't know me, they are like, oh, she's the teacher, she's an adult, she's not gonna watch that. And then I watch it and I tell them about it, and they are like, oh, she listened to me.
Oh,
And we
lovely.
play games as well. So sometimes we have like Bogler puzzle, or the saying, if I were a leprechaun, I would. What would I do? So I really like that. And the suggestions of free, also secret message. This one we use this as I don't know the name. The ones with invisible, the pens with invisible ink. And we have like a because I have some students I have really cool pens and pencils and those things, so we get to use funny stuff. And the same here, there are like secret messages, so you can use it in so many different ways.
And
then,
we've had a question from Lisa.
oh, yeah.
Do you use them during a specific writing block dedicated to writing them in them daily, or can students just take them whenever they want?
Usually it's available for them to use whenever they want, and ideally they use it while I'm in the toilet to write something. And then sometimes some of the students, it depends on the students, some of the students took it home and then they wrote more things, because some of them were like really into it. Others maybe write only one sentence, 2 sentences, but that's okay. But maybe they get to read because they are like, I mean, it's not me giving them something to read. They want to see what the others are thinking. So you can use it for a holiday. You can use it like at the end of the class instead of a game, because sometimes they ask me, it's like, okay, let's play. I usually play games at the end of the last 10 minutes or something like that. I usually play a game. And sometimes they ask me if they could do something from the journal instead. So whatever works for you. I used to have them on the table. I have like my table, my teacher table, and that's where I have books that I like, the books I was reading, for them to see that, oh, and they like gossiping, so at least let's use that for a good reason. So whatever you want, it works. But it works really well. I really like it. I stopped during the pandemic, because during the pandemic we had something else. I did it with a Word document, but it was not the same, because sometimes it didn't look as cool, and they didn't get to. And then I forgot until I started thinking about this for this talk, and I'm going to do it again. So next week I need to get new notebooks. Let's see because I took them almost all. I'm gonna get a new notebook, and I'm gonna do it with them as well. So let's see what they do this year.
We
because
had
some of my students are the ones that wrote here when they were 6, and they are still with me. So I think they are gonna like doing it.
Lovely. We had another message from Lisa. She says that she's posted a link to an Instagram account, Pretty Ink Credible, and she says this teacher does visual journals, and she thinks that she has lots of cool ideas as well.
So we have to check it out. Thank you. I love discovering teachers on Instagram, because there are so many cool ideas, and then TikTok, but it's a little bit overwhelming, like so much information sometimes. And then I love my class. Everybody that comes into the academy where I work, I was gonna say my academy, but it's not mine, although I've been working there for 19 years, so I feel like part of the furniture. They immediately know which one is my classroom, because it's the one with the most decorations. I cannot have it at the beginning. The academy is really pretty. It's like green and white, it's really nicely decorated. So at the beginning, we were told not to put things on the wall, on the white one, because on the green one, I think we couldn't, because Then the paint was more delicate, but then little by little I got away with covering. This is even outside the classroom. This is not even in my classroom. But now everybody's used to that. And if I don't have anything, in fact, do you remember that I told you that I saw your photograph of my old classroom? My old classroom was small. It had a window, which was very nice, but it was small. And at one time I moved to a bigger one. And I thought my students were gonna be happier because we were in a bigger one. And at the beginning they were, but they didn't like the classroom. And the classroom is much better. But they were like, no, we don't like it. We like the old one. And it was because I hadn't had time to decorate. And the other one, they said it was prettier because it was full of things. And I was like, give me time. Because I don't like decorating. I like decorating it with them, not just me doing the job. I like them getting involved because it's also a piece of their home in a way for 2 hours a week. So I like using wall intervention or door. My door is always covered with things. One thing that I like doing is I ask my friends, the ones that are really, really super nice and patient, to send me a postcard in English when they go anywhere, even to a place in Spain. They send me a postcard in English. They send it to the academy, and it's for my students, for whoever wants to read it. And they say things. Sometimes the students send them to me as well, and then I ask them to bring me a photograph. This is an old one. I have to create one this year. To send me a photograph of better printed, because then I don't have to spend my money printing it, of a place it doesn't have to be abroad, because some of the students have not traveled abroad. It could be their favorite place in Gijón, that's where I live, or their favorite place in Spain or in their village, or it doesn't matter, a place they like. And then we use the photographs to compare, to talk about, to guess who took the photograph, how this person was feeling. For example, this one is very difficult to see, but it was one of my students. She's one of the old ones, and they call her old, but it's like she's 20 something. But the other ones, and she's in Salem, so she sent me a photograph pretending to be a witch. So that was really cool. And then the same, so we talk about the witches and why she's doing that, because at the beginning we were like, why is she doing that? It's like, is something wrong with her? And then I explained what happened, so that was nice. I also like, for Christmas, I like doing a walk down memory lane. This year I'm going to do it a little bit different. This is with the students. This was at the beginning, then I have plenty more photographs because of the same thing. Because this year I explained it to them, for example, that they have to start looking for photographs. We are in October, but I say you have to start looking for cute photographs of when you were children at Christmas. And they were like, but in this class there are only 2 boys, so if it's not me, I know it's gonna be Guille. Is I know, because there are gonna be photographs from all the classrooms for you to figure out. So these are like students, and then the same. We try to guess who is who, why, because of the eyes, because of the expression, because of whatever. They have to try to guess, because they are 2, and we know that that person has a twin. And what I'm gonna do this year too, I'm going to ask the teachers to send me a photograph as well, and I'm gonna put it, if they let me, in the corridor for parents to see and students to try to guess who is who. And I really liked it. And another thing I like doing on the wall, I think, or on the door, I think it was on the video. In the video was something similar. I don't know if you saw, if you noticed. Is write a tweet. I put tweet between inverted commas because now I don't really know what you're supposed to write. An X, a post. My students told me, I don't know, I don't like it. I say tweet because I thought tweet was cute. And so they have to write a tweet about their favorite book. I like doing a lot of activities for book day. And because there is more than one book day, you can even let them be there for a long time. So they have to write a tweet about their favorite book. Well, we're not that picky about the characters, but it's like I give them like a post-it note, or this is not a post-it note. It's like when I do cards, the leftovers, I don't throw anything away, as I told you before. So I create post-it notes, and they have to. I ask them not to make it too obvious. Like, for example, you can say Harry Potter. No, you say a boy loses his parents, then he's sent to live with his family. Then, you know, start not so obvious, because then I like playing a game where they have to guess, because in that way I make them read. They cannot guess without reading. And then at the back is the name of the book, who chose the book, and how old. so that they know, because sometimes they, oh, 60, and he's doing this, and he's 62, and they feel so old. It's like, come on. It's funny when they say, when I was younger, and they are like 11. And it's like, yeah, because now you're super. No, when they are young, when I was young, I always say, no, when I was younger, because they always say, when I was young, and it's like, you're 11 or 16. Come on. And I also like, this was a lazy group. This is outside the classroom as well. And this was supposed to be write a summary of your favorite book or a little bit of the story. But if you're very, very lazy, so that they get to do it anyway, find the back of the book and print it and bring it, and then everybody has to read at least this. I'm not gonna make them read a book, but they are gonna read at least some of these, and the same thing. Then we have to choose which one is the most interesting, which one is the most boring, because some of them are really boring, which one I would like to read. And then at the back, the same thing, who chose it, name, age. And then this is my favorite, this poster, one of my students, Marina, the famous Marina, that is very patient and very nice and very good at drawing. She did this for me many years ago. I'm really upset with my bosses because when it was a pandemic and we couldn't go to work there, they went one day and cleaned a lot and they threw my poster away. At least it's like, and there will be repercussions. I haven't thought about them yet, but there will be repercussions. So at least I have photographs, so I can get to use it. Because I would have new things, but I would use Marina poster every single year because it deserved it. She asked me, she got really involved in these things. She was like, can I make a poster for a book day this year? Because she knew I was gonna do something. I was like, yeah, please do in your free time, not in class, in your free time. Yes. And the idea as well is that you don't say which book you choose. Clearly, this person didn't get it. This even worse. This was a super cute small book, so I didn't say anything. It was super cute. This was done at home, and like, see, it was super, super cute inside. I don't know why I didn't get inside with drawings and those things, but I mean, the thing of guessing is like not happening here. Okay, and this one Piglet Pooh, same thing. And you have like a lot. So this was your favorite quote. And then they have to guess as many as possible. Some are easier than others. And sometimes I got really surprised about the ones they chose. And for students who don't like reading, I don't want them to feel bad. So it's like, choose your favorite film that is based on a book. And that's okay. Find something on the internet so that they still get to do it. And then everybody has to read them. We figure out what it means. For example, we must all face the choice between what is right and what is easy. So then we can talk. This is from Harry Potter, I really like. So we get to choose, we get to talk about it. Okay. And then we have the quote champion. That is the person that has guessed the most. And then that person gets a lollipop or something, not something very extravagant. And my students chose this for you. Well, this one is, I told you, was Harry Potter. You're supposed to guess, but I probably have to guess because I don't remember some of them. Do you know, well, the first one was Harry Potter. Do you know the second one? By any chance, Teresa?
Don't. I'll see if anybody else pops anything in the chat. I'm trying to look at the character as well.
Yeah, this was done really, really well.
Yeah.
It's a very, very famous book, very small and a little bit controversial because they said people that had read it had then committed crimes.
Was it the not 13 Reasons Why?
No.
No? If anybody's watching.
It's older.
Oh,
anyway.
Karen says, can you read the quote? Because it's a bit
it says, I don't exactly know what I mean by that, but I mean it. Yeah, this was quite hard, to be honest. I had read the book and I didn't remember. And the main character is like a boy telling his story in the first person. And he's always wearing this hat.
Karen says, Catcher in the Rye?
Yeah, but I was really surprised. This was one of my teenagers. And she chose that. So I was really surprised. Then this one. Maybe you can read it, Teresa, because your voice is so cool. Can you read it? I like listening your podcast and to everything.
All that is gold does not glitter. Not all those who wander are lost. The old that is strong does not wither. Deep roots are not reached by the frost. From the ashes a fire shall be woken. A light from the shadows shall spring. Renewed shall be blade that was broken. The crownless again shall be king. I recognize that one from the second line.
Yeah, right.
Everything else I didn't know.
But see how nice it is that they use their time to do it like nice, try to write like in an old-fashioned way, they told me. And then, well, so there are plenty. I really like this one. You know, this
Karen
one?
says, was that one Shakespeare? It was The Hobbit, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
Oh,
the
yeah.
Fellowship of the Ring, but yeah,
Fellowship of the
any
Ring.
yeah. And then I like this one.
Oh, all you need is faith, trust, and a little bit of pixie dust. Was that Peter Pan?
Yeah. So, well, you can play, you can put them on the screen, you can sew them, you can, you know, play games with them. And I also like this one.
Hang on, I need to make my screen bigger. Happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if one only remembers to turn on the light. Was that Harry Potter again?
Yeah.
Dumbledore?
Yeah, but it's very nice because, you know, they didn't draw, they decorated it.
Yeah.
Made it nice because it was going to be on display. So they wanted it to be nice. So you can do a lot of activities with that, and it's really cheap. And the same thing for this, I use pieces of paper. I give them to them sometimes if they don't have any, or whatever paper they have at home, because sometimes we do it in class, depending on the students. Sometimes they do it at home, depending on how involved they get. And that was basically all. I hope you liked it. I thought my brain and my mouth make a little bit of sense. And if you have any questions, you can ask me now, or well, I mean, tell Teresa. And as well, if you want the handout, you can send me an email. This is my private account, and this is the one we've been using for Tisol Spain North. So I will reply to any of them. And thanks a lot for being there.
It's been
Thanks
so
a lot
cool.
for inviting me.
So many great ideas. We did have a question from Lisa, which maybe you might not be able to answer now, but how do you use mini whiteboards in class?
If I use the small ones?
Yeah.
I use them a lot for games, but now I even have, I bought a few mini boards, and I bought a few, they are like mini blackboards, the ones I have. I bought them in Taiga too. They were cheap, but now I have a better idea. My friend, one of my friends, he's a teacher as well, and she's really into recycling things. So we had a friend that had a video club, and he had to sell it because nowadays, well, it's not the best business. So he gave us lots of cases like this. So we have a piece of paper here, and this is a board. And then we can stick it, if we play a game, it can be even like that, to write things on and then you can put the cards inside. So now this is my favorite thing, but I use them for everything. When I play any kind of trivia game, sometimes, because I don't want them to be on the spot. As I said, I'm very shy. This is a very challenge for me. And sometimes when it happened, I love board games, but when I was a child, for example, I never wanted to play because it was like individual, because I felt the pressure was on me, and I was gonna be like, I'm not gonna know how to do it, I'm gonna make mistakes, I'm not gonna know the answer, I'm so stupid, blah blah. So I tend to have them in groups. So sometimes instead of saying something, they can just write it down. And they write, everybody writes it down, or the same. Sometimes I do it for use of English. For example, for the first certificate, when they have the gaps, is a text. But sometimes what I do is I give them sentences, or maybe even the text, but I say, okay, we're gonna do number 1. And instead of having them read, especially at the beginning, if I have a group where they are shy, I make them write down the first one, and then they saw it. And for drawing, for dictionary, for everything. I don't know, I use it for everything. I'm in love with, and also because they are cute.
Yeah, they are. They're really dinky, aren't they? And much sturdier as well than kind of the ones that you can buy in bazaars.
Because I used to have, like, you know, cheaper ones. You have a piece of paper, and one of these things, and that's
Mhm.
also a board. But
Yeah.
obviously, but you can even have a color paper, and then that's nicer. But yeah, obviously they like, because I have like in my classroom I have like a box with mini chalks and a small rubber, and I have the blackboard from Tiger, and obviously they want to use that because it's cute.
Mhm.
Well.
Well, thank you everyone who's been watching this morning. There's been some lovely comments coming in, and thanks for trying to guess the quotes. Adriana, it was such an inspiring session. And like you talked about how your students were really engaged in all these activities, but I think it's because you're so enthusiastic.
I try to be because
yeah,
we
and
spend a lot of hours teaching. We have to have fun. If we don't have fun, they are not going to have fun, and it's not good.
And I mean, your ideas are all really creative and, like we say, low cost ideas that can engage your students. So thank you so much for coming along. Enjoy the rest of your holiday. And everyone else, will see you again in a couple of weeks here in the Hub.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.